Hey, Louise, how's it going?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for coming onto the podcast.
Um,
Good stuff. It's lovely to have you on. We're going to have a little chat with you about everything that you're up to, what you're doing. It's going to be awesome, and I think our listeners are going to be really interested to hear more about you. For those that don't know, I suppose we should probably tell people how we know each other.
yeah,
Um, so Louise and I met. Well, it was quite a few years ago now, many years ago, in fact. I would say it was probably back in 2007, 2008, around that time.
2007. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So 2007, and we worked on a number of theatre and education shows, performing in schools, doing workshops. We did that for quite a while. How was that for you? How was that for you at that time, working as an actor in, this was in London, we should probably add as well, mainly sort
Yeah.
of South London, Southeast London.
I loved it. I really, really did, because although I was acting, I always knew that what I was going to be doing was teaching. So going into schools, performing in an educational setting, it really fulfilled me. I enjoyed it so much. And obviously we were on tour and there was, groups of us and we were just literally having the time of our lives. It was just
Yeah.
it was a different time. It really was. Van stories, all the fun.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. We did lots of touring, as you said, and turning up at various schools in a big van and performing to kids of the age of sort of 13, actually even younger than that. We did one for primary schools as well, didn't we? So it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and we did some stuff in pupil referral units and young offender institutions and schools, primary schools. It was brilliant. After that, you moved away from performing, I should say, for a while, didn't you? And what happened after that? What did you end up doing from then on, and are still doing now?
Well, I went back and I retrained as a teacher, as a drama teacher.
Uh-huh.
And I've been head of the drama department at a secondary school for almost a decade now. And yeah, it's what I was always supposed to be doing. It's my dharma, it's my purpose. I love every minute of it, absolutely every minute of it. The students, they just enrich my life in a way that's just, well, it's unexplainable really, but it's just, they're everything. They really are. And I really enjoy what I'm doing. I love my job.
It's very nice to hear that. It's a heartwarming a message that you're putting out there, and I've actually been to observe some shows or watch some shows that you've been involved in the past at the school that you teach at, and the shows themselves are, phenomenal. We'll come back and talk about them a little bit later, what you've been up to with that. But they really are brilliant, and you can see your passion for the arts, your passion for teaching, and the reaction that these young people have towards you is amazing. And lots of people go into teaching. Some people enjoy it, some people don't. But it seems like, yeah, as you said, it's something that you're just a natural. Like even when we were performing and going in and doing workshops, like for me, I enjoyed working with young people. I enjoyed the educational aspect of it, but I was more down there. I wanted to perform and I wanted to do these shows and learn the lines and get the buzz from doing that. And the educational side at the time came second. Things changed for me a little bit after that as well. But I could see for you, like you obviously loved the performing, but you were involved in all aspects of the work. So you were sort of like helping out with the music creation, and you were in the workshops. You were a driving force when it came to creating some of the workshops and leading the workshops, and you were always super energetic and always had a positive mindset. And sometimes we were turning up at schools at 6 o'clock in the morning or something ridiculous, but you were always ready to do it and be there, and you were a great person to have around at that particular time. It was brilliant. Yeah, so you went in, you did a PGCE, and then you have been teaching now for how many years?
This will be my 9th year at my current school, and then my training year, so a decade.
Wow.
I know, I don't feel like it's been a decade, but oh yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Nice. I mentioned very briefly a second ago about your shows that you've been putting on. I've been to see other theatre shows at schools, and it's safe to say that they are not quite on the same level as the work that you and your the performers that you're working with. The level in which you create with them is I mean, it's incredible, actually. Like when I came to watch one of your shows, it was quite a few years ago now, but I just remember sitting there thinking, like, I can't believe this is a school production. Like the production value was insane. I mean, the costume, the lights, the staging, the commitment from the young people as well. It's really impressive, and I think a lot of that is down to your passion and your talent, and obviously the kids or the young people see that you really enjoy what you're doing. So it has a very positive effect. Yeah, no, of course.
I think my whole kind of thing behind that is I work in a school in Southeast London, and I want to give them the most professional experience that they can possibly have. And obviously it helps coming from a performance background myself, being an actor, being professionally involved in theatre. So I'm able to, because drama teachers, it's a lot to produce a show on your own. You are the director, you are the costume designer, you create the set, you're the lighting designer, you are choosing all the music for the underscoring or directing the musicians if it's a musical. So there's a lot to do, but it wouldn't be anything without the talent that I've been so lucky to have worked with over these past 9-10 years. I mean, the kids, they are just so talented, and we're like a family. I call them my soul family, because all of the students involved in the shows, we've always been drawn together. I can look down a corridor and know exactly what student is going to want to be involved in a show, and when I'm choosing the shows, I know exactly who would be right for the particular roles. It's so fluid and it's so beautiful, and we spend so much time together when we're in rehearsal for a show. We're rehearsing every evening after school. We're in at weekends. It's a big commitment from the students, and that's why it gets to the level that it does. And also, I'm lucky in my school we have a performance budget. We also have a fantastic technician who puts up with me when we just need this and this and this, and then he's like, but Louise, and I'm like, but please. So it's been, well, they are intense experiences, but they're irreplaceable for those students that will remember them for the rest of their lives. And not just the shows, the process behind it, the friendships that they make, the community, the building of their self-worth, being able to step on that stage in front of their friends, their family, their peers, the local community, and shine for something that is inherently in them, that they just kind of get out. And it's irreplaceable, because they'll go on knowing that they're good at something, knowing that they can take that with them when they leave. All of those practices, all of that experience, when they leave me, they can take it on. And the school is with them on their whole journey, and that's just what lights me up. And
amazing.
I wouldn't want to do anything else. It's brilliant.
And you touched on something there that I'd be interested to know. Have you spoken with any of the young people about their plans once they leave the school? Like, are they do they have ideas as to what they want to do? Do they want to continue down this path of acting and drama, or is it something that they were just doing at that particular time, or what? Yeah, have they said anything?
I'm in contact with a lot of my ex-students, the students that are involved in shows, and a lot of them do go on to study drama. We've got quite a few of them in drama schools, at the Brit School, and then others that have chosen to go to university and study theatre at Bristol. So there's lots of kind of different avenues that people go on and do. But yeah, I stay in contact with them. And at the moment, my current year 11s, there's a couple of them that are being interviewed for the Brits at the moment. So I'm preparing their monologues and getting sorted out. I mean, not every student continues on and goes to college or drama school, but the majority that are involved in the shows are the students, are the people, are the humans that creativity and performance is in them, and it's what they want to do.
But I mean, also, even those young people that don't necessarily go to the Brit School or go on to do acting, I imagine a lot of the skills that they've learnt through doing drama and working with you for so many years, they're going to take on into their own sort of their life path, or wherever they end up, or whatever job they go into, or even just getting into college and university. The confidence that they would have built from years of doing drama with someone like yourself, as passionate as you are about it, I can only imagine that passion would have rubbed off on them, and they will be able to take that into their own journey and see where it takes them. So it's really nice.
That makes me feel nice.
No, but I know from my own experience the impact that drama can have on young people, on adults. I mean, it's a confidence builder, and it's communication skills. It's all things, the skills that we need in day-to-day life. And you don't necessarily have to be heading into the West End, but you can take them skills and fly with it. So I think it's great. It's really nice.
Skills, it's the social understanding that the students have that's really above other students, the communication and the way to kind of understand other people and be able to react accordingly and become strong, powerful, aware members of our society. It's irreplaceable. It's irreplaceable.
And was teaching for you, did it beat your expectations, or was it something, did you know that teaching was going to be as good as it was or has been for yourself, like the feelings that you have when you teach and what you've taken from it and what you've given? Have those expectations been matched, or have they exceeded them? Or
I think it surpassed my expectations. I think what I get from it, though, is very different to what I imagined I would, because obviously I went into it loving performance, loving theatre, wanting to teach, but where I find myself now is just being so grateful for the students that I've met and how we've worked together and the impact that we've had on each other's lives, and really seeing those synchronicities and those reasons why I was supposed to work with certain students and where that would go. And it's obviously, I look at things from a different perspective now. I've kind of been looking at things from a spiritual perspective more often than not now, and I guess we'll go on to talk a bit about
we're going to touch on that in a little bit.
But it's really about the soul contract and the soul family aspect to the theatrical workings that has really kind of surprised and delighted me over the past couple of years.
It's nice. It's very interesting, and we are going to move on to speak a little bit about the spiritual elements that you mentioned shortly. Before we do that, 2020, it's a question that I will probably ask most people, because it's been a year to, I don't know, a year to remember, a year to forget, a year to everyone's handled it in a very different way. How has 2020 been for yourself? How have you navigated your way through the year? Has it been a challenge for you? Have you been able to just use it to your advantage to learn new skills? Or how's it been for yourself?
Well, it's been the most awakening experience of my entire life. I mean, the first time we were sent into lockdown, we were just about to do our component 2 GCSE exams at school, which is scripted pieces that they have to perform to an examiner. So we'd been working on those pieces for months and months and months. The examiner was coming in the following week, and the head teacher was like, no, school's closing, we're all going home. And I was like, what? But the exam's next week, what are you talking about? What's happening? And I was just bereft. I was just overwhelmed. And I was like, and he was like, no, Louise, you need to go home. We're going into a lockdown. The school's closing. And I was like, oh, okay. But as soon as I left that building, as soon as I went home, I felt the most overwhelming sense of calm. And I never thought, because I'm someone who is always so in control and so focused on getting things done, and you have to be when you're a teacher and you're directing shows and you're in charge of so many people, so many young people that are looking to you, so you always have to be so organized. But as soon as we went into lockdown, it was just like this big exhale, and I just allowed myself to be and not do anything, and I just was, and from that, in that silence, in that space, creativity came to me in a completely new way, new way. Whether you are going to go on to talk about that with me, but yeah,
we will. We absolutely will. Yeah. Well, we may as well jump onto that. I mean, it was a nice little link in. So yeah, so you've written a script, a play. I've read it. It's brilliant. We're actually gonna play two monologues at the end of the episode, and you very kindly let me perform one of them. Which I'm really excited about doing. So I'm going to perform one of the monologues, one of the lead characters, and then you're going to perform the other monologue. I'm really excited about it. Can you give everyone an insight into this script that you've written, what it's about, and what the actual monologues are about, so people have an idea before they actually listen to it as to what they're listening to? That would be great.
Yeah, and just to say, I'm so excited to hear your monologue, because it's the first time I've heard it come alive. So I'm just like,
no pressure.
I can't wait. So yeah, the play is called Necessarium, which is Latin for indispensable, and it points towards the lead character always feeling like she was throwaway, she was dispensable, she was replaceable, and that being from society as a whole, from the perceived methods of control used at her place of work, from men, and it basically it's the journey of two twin flames, which are two souls that have split in half, and they've traveled many lifetimes together, and in this lifetime there is a huge barrier to them connecting and being together, and it looks at their journey, but it's set today. I wrote it during the lockdown period, so it looks at the power structures of the world, control, fear, and then it mirrors that in her place of work as well, where her perceived, the way she sees control in that setting, and fear, and how we acquiesce to rules because of fear, rules that we wouldn't usually follow. There's lots of stuff about race, about the patriarchy, but essentially it's about longing and the lead character, Elizabeth, she's always had this real strong sense of longing, and it looks at whether that longing is for her twin flame, which is similar to a soulmate, but you have many soulmates in your lifetime that come into your life for a reason, but you only get one twin flame. But it looks at whether that longing is for her twin flame, or whether it's the holy longing, whether it's something that only can be fulfilled by source, by the universe, by God, whatever you know, however you describe it. So yeah, longing would be a word that I'd use to sum it up. And the two monologues that we're going to look at are from the two lead characters, the twin flames, and how they are dealing with knowing, they know that, you know, they've got this connection. Elizabeth knows a little bit more in terms of what she's been experiencing spiritually, but there's this real sense of, like, we know we need to be together, we know we need to do something, we know there's a reason behind our connection and why we're here now. But in the situation that they are in, which when you read the play you'll find out why they actually can't be, but in the situation that they're in, there's so much to consider and so much to think about. And Elizabeth is kind of like, well, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? What if I'm making this up? What if, you know, I do something and the implications down the line are just, it's not worth thinking about. So the two monologues are the characters talking to each other, but not directly to each other, about the situation they find themselves in during the lockdown period, being away from each other. So yeah, that's Necessarium in a
yeah, it sounds like an epic journey. Wow, it's nice to hear from the creator and the writer of this story, and it's it really does sound like something that I think it's incredibly relevant to now, but it's something that you could have read in the past, in the future. It's sort of like almost timeless in a way, but also incredibly relevant to now. So it's brilliantly put together. I was very impressed. Is this your first piece of writing that you've done, or?
It's a very different piece of writing.
Right.
How I wrote it, it's a very, very different piece of writing. I mean, I've written in the past, I've written little bits and bobs, scripts for school, but this was something that I never ever expected to happen to me. I never expected to have a whole play emerge from me, and a play as I can't even think of the word that I want to use.
It's exhausting in places because it's just, there's so many emotions out there, and it's funny, and it's entertaining. I mean, it has so much to it. I think everyone needs to hear this piece. And what plans do you have for the actual script itself? Have you got an idea as to what you want to do with it, or have you just written it just for now, or do you want to are you looking to get it put on somewhere, or what is the sort of the future plan for it, if you will?
Well, let's just, instead of beating around the bush, let me just say how I wrote the play, because I think an idea of my answer to that question. Okay, so basically during the lockdown period,
I can't wait to hear this. I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, lockdown, in that silence, I just, as I said, I allowed myself to just to relax. And in that silence, I started to, what I can describe as receive poetry. So I would spend my time writing poetry. And again, it was on, there was lots of things that I was writing about that I'd considered, about twin flames, about past lives. But the poetry was coming in such a way that it didn't feel like it was coming from me. And then I was given lots of songs, and I was writing lots of songs, and again, words that I wouldn't necessarily use, concepts that I feel like I kind of half knew, didn't fully know. And then I was, then I was given lots of conversations that I could have with people that I know, or should have with people, and it seemed very strange, but there was something telling me, you just need to write them down, you just need to write them down. So, you know, a couple of months into lockdown, I had all of these poems, all of these songs, all of these bits of conversation. Nice. I didn't know what I was doing with them, but I just knew I had to write them. So then a couple of years ago, when I was going through, you know, some stress at work, I decided, but do you know what, I'm going to write a musical. So I only got literally 3 scenes into this musical, and I stopped because it got really busy again at work. We went into a show, it was GCSE time, but during the lockdown I was like, okay, I'm enjoying writing, actually. I don't know where this is all coming from. I've got poems, I've got songs, I've got bits of dialogue. Let me just pull my musical up and let me just see if I enjoy carrying on with that. So I've pulled the musical up, and I've read the first part of it, and I was like, okay, I'm not writing this, but I knew exactly what I needed to write from there. I already had the setting, the characters, and so I just started writing. I knew, and I was in flow, and I was writing, but then it would get to a point where I would be like, well, I don't really know what happens next here. What's she supposed to do? What happens? And then I'd look down, and on my desk in front of me, and this is all in journals, it wasn't typed up, all of my poems, songs, everything was just written on my desk. And I'd look in front of me, and there would be part of a poem or part of a song or a bit of dialogue that would slot into place exactly where I needed it. And these things that were given to me weeks in advance, and this continued, and then I'd be drawn to articles I was supposed to read, and audiobooks and podcasts, and I thought that I was just listening to those because, you know, I'm interested in it, I'm you know, that's me. But no, I'd listen to something, and then it would be what I needed for the next part of the play. It'd be you know, it'd be how it would fit together. And then it started to get even more intense, because then I would just be told. I'm saying I'd be told. I don't know how else to explain this, but I would just have the feeling that I needed to get to my laptop, and then I'd get to my laptop and I would just write, and I would just write, have no idea what I was writing about. And all of this writing would flow through me, and that's what makes up a lot of the monologues in the piece. That was just, and I know now that it's called channeling, but at the time I didn't really know. But that all came through me just in flow. And then it got to a point where I thought I was finished, but then I had to go back and read over it, and I was getting quite frustrated because the whole process had been really kind of, oh, this has been given, and this has been amazing, and it's flowing, and it's creative. But I did get to a point where I was like, oh, I don't feel like I'm getting any kind of, what you'd say, help. But then going back and reading over it, that was when I knew I had to put the things that I'd experienced in life, my journey, my experiences as a teacher, my experiences of working in an educational setting, to be the basis of the characters, and give it a real sense of authenticity. But I mean, again, you'll understand when you read it that it was a process. So when you ask me what I want to do with it, the answer to that is I don't know. The answer is I know it was written for a reason. It wouldn't have happened like that. It wouldn't have been given to me if it wasn't written for a reason. But that reason I'm yet to discover. I'm waiting for the next ping to say, okay, Louise, well, this is what's going to happen with it.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Yeah, let's watch this space then. Watch this space. But the process in which you put it together is a really impressive and interesting way of I mean, it sounds like it was very sort of natural and organic in its process, which is refreshing to hear. And for those other budding writers out there or people that are interested in creating themselves, it's hopefully they can take some of this on board and just throw things down on a piece of paper or various pieces of paper, or on a leaflet, and stick it on the wall, and you just see where these words come from and see what happens to them. And it's lovely. I love it. Let's just very briefly move on to, so you've mentioned on a few occasions about the spiritual elements, and you are now a newly qualified Reiki instructor. Have I got that right?
Yes, I'm a Reiki practitioner.
Reiki practitioner. Okay.
Also during the lockdown period, as well as all of the channeling in terms of the play, the energy came back in my hands during meditation, and I remember having this as a child, being able to run my hands over things and kind of know what decisions I needed to make. And I remember the feel of the energy. So I looked it up, and I didn't know what Reiki was before. I looked it up and discovered Reiki. So then I went back and I did my Reiki 1, which was amazing. And I gave treatments, and I was getting so much out of it, and the people that I was giving treatments to were also getting a lot out of it. But it wasn't until I went back and I did my training for Reiki 2, which is the practitioner training, which makes you qualified to practice professionally, that I discovered my intuitive gifts, which again I remember having as a child, but you kind of lose them in today's kind of modern society. So now when I'm given a Reiki session, be it in person or distance, and I'm telling you, every day I'm just so shocked about how strong distance healings are, because you make a body with towels, and you put a photograph and the address of the person on the head, and that becomes the person by proxy. And you call the person first, and you talk to them, and you call them after to give feedback. But the whole time you're giving the Reiki, it's just to the towel, the body on your bed.
Oh, okay.
But speaking to the clients after, I see things, I see images, I feel things. So when I talk to the clients after about what I've seen, they're like, oh yes, it's because of this, this and this. I'll feel if there is something in the body, or the energetic subtle bodies that needs to be sorted out. It's just been a mind-blowing experience of my being able to see, hear, feel, know. It's just, and that's led me on to delving deeper into that, and starting some classes on psychic mediumship, and I found that I've been able to give people lots of information just by seeing them. And before, it was just when I was giving the Reiki. Now straight away looking at you, I could probably tell you things, although still
I would love to know.
As soon as I said
maybe
that,
not now.
no, as soon as I said that, I saw your face, and I was like, oh no, because I'm still in the position where you don't. And even at the class the other day, the teacher was saying to me, just trust what you're going to say, because I was like, I didn't want to say that. I feel like, and then when I said it, it was right. They were like, well, why didn't you just say, this is what I've seen? And I'm like, well, because I still don't know. I still don't know if this is real. And like, when you read the play, you'll understand that kind of always questioning spirituality. Am I making this up? Is this happening? Is it real? But I just had to say to myself, if this isn't real, then I don't care, because it's brilliant. So just let it happen. And I don't know.
Maybe I'll have to speak to you about this at another time, I think, and get myself looked at. I dread to think. Right, good. So it's been a pretty productive 2020 then for you, it's safe to say, which is really refreshing to hear. And hopefully, there are other people out there who might be struggling at the moment. It's a very tough time for some people, and hopefully hearing some of your stories and what you've been up to and what you've managed to create in this time, hopefully that will inspire other people to do the same. It's been very lovely speaking with you, Louise, and I knew it would be. I'm fascinated to see where your script can go. Is with going back to the Reiki very quickly? Are you is this something that you're working with, or is it more a hobby at this stage, or is it something that you might want to do, on a weekend or of an evening, or combine it with your teaching, or like how what's the plan with that?
Yeah, no, for sure. So I had to do my 140 hours of case studies before I qualified. But a lot of that now has been in this kind of lockdown period. But for sure, there's no hands-on treatments at the moment. Yeah. So if there was, I'd be contacting yoga studios and places that might want to have a practitioner, on site. But I'm open to distance healings, and if anybody feels called to experience or already has experienced distance Reiki healing and is looking for someone, then definitely get in contact with me. Because I've got a website for the Reiki and the workshops, so people can contact me about that, which is different to what they'd contact me for in terms of the play.
Sure. Well, I mean, following on from that, we will. I will put a link to all the work that you're up to, the Reiki and any other links that are that are suitable at the time. I'll put everything down. So if you want to contact Louise and say, hey, it was lovely to hear from you. You were incredibly entertaining. You rocked my world. You inspired me. Whatever it is, or if you wanted to just know more about Reiki, about teaching, about acting, about writing, about just generally being creative, all of the Louise's contact details will be in the description of the podcast. So yes, but before we go, Louise, before you have to disappear, we're going to play a little game. A little sort of would you rather. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. I'm doing this with everyone that comes on. They're different questions each time. Don't give it too much thought. Literally just the first thing that pops into your head. Are you ready?
Yeah, go on then.
All right, cool. Would you feel worse if no one showed up to your wedding or to your funeral?
Wedding would be fine because I'd be with the person I loved and no one needs to see that. Funeral, I'm dead. But I'm not dead because you live on.
Yeah. So which one is it, funeral or wedding? Quick decision.
Funeral.
Okay, funeral. We got there. Oh, brilliant. I knew it. Would you rather be without the internet for a week or without your phone?
Are they? But they're together.
They're kind of together, but also not.
No, because no one uses their phone to actually be a phone. It's just the internet. So I would say phone.
Go with phone then. All right. Would you rather meet Michelle or Barack Obama?
I mean, I really don't know. I'll go Barack because he was.
Barack. Okay. Good. Would you rather lose your vision or your hearing? That was very dramatic, by the way. I enjoyed that reaction.
Because that's an interesting question. I love music too much. I would go vision. I'd have to hear.
Okay. Yeah. Would you rather, and this is the last one now, would you rather work more hours per day but fewer days, or work fewer hours per day but more days?
I would say fewer days with more hours.
Interesting.
Because if you are working during a day, no matter how many hours it is for, because I'm having this experience now of teaching virtually, so I'm working from home. And yes, it's shorter but every day, even if you've only got 1 or 2 lessons, it's still a work day and it still consumes your mind. But if you had more hours on 3 days and the other 2 days off, you could give yourself that mental space to disconnect from work. But you can't do working every day.
It's an incredibly detailed thought process that you went through there. I love it, Louise. You fully committed to that game,
I
which
love it.
you love games. I know. It was brilliant. I kind of want to do some more now just to see where this goes, but we can't. We're running short on time now. Okay. Before you go, the very, very last thing, any lasting messages that you would like to leave for our audience? It could be about work, it could be about life, attitudes, entirely up to you. If there's like a sort of a slogan or a catchphrase or a sentence that you would like to just drop and leave with everyone, what would it be? No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
Nice big one to finish.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'll just go with what's coming to me to say, and that is just about just recognizing that we are all unique expressions, and there's gone through their experiences, but there's only one person that has had the exact same experiences as you, and that's you. So don't feel like, just always have a sense of self-worth, because you are the only one who can be you. You are a unique offering to the world. Do not let fears about, well, I don't think I'm good at this, or I could never do that, or oh no, but I've decided to do this with my life and I couldn't do that, and oh, my friend or mum or that person on Instagram, laughed at me when I put something up or suggested this. Just realize that you are the only person who can be you. And so who are you not to offer yourself to the world? Who are you not to do that? You have been given this chance to be you. So be you, and just love yourself, and try to get rid of the fear that's us at the moment, and find a way to focus in on the positives every day. Think, if something that you see as negative has happened to you, just ask yourself, what have I learned from this that could make me a better person tomorrow? You can find something that you've learned from every single contrasting experience in your life. And if you change your perception, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I think Dr. Wayne Dyer said that. Just change the way you're looking at things, and everything around you changes. You can change your whole life just by the way you see things. That was a lot. And you only
that was a phenomenal lasting message. You should be a world leader, I think, Louise. We could do with more people like you in extremely powerful positions right now. Very strong words. Hopefully everyone can take some of that on board. Much appreciated, Louise. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I will see you soon.
Thank you.
See you, Louise. Bye.
I was of him before I knew him. The one my soul cried out for at my bedroom window. I remember it vividly. I must have only been 6 or 7, but as my parents argued downstairs, "Where are you?" I would cry, knowing that he was out there somewhere, knowing that he existed far before I knew what it was. But I knew there was meant to be someone next to me who wasn't. Someone who, when we joined, when we connected, computed, amalgamated, strengthened. A nod of agreement before moving forward. 2 parts of the same objective. I knew it even then, and it was so painful. My whole life has been a search. Always a search, in every breath, in every moment, always a search. Knowing, unknowing, I don't know when I realised, maybe from the first moment, maybe I felt it coming, but I paid no heed to anything then. Nothing was considered, noticed. There was never any stopping, any pausing to really embody anything. And now a wave so strong that I can't unnotice for all my wanting to. Is it worth my time to relay now the deep knowing of my soul? Would it make it any easier for anyone to understand that will never ever understand why this has to happen? Am I strong enough to explain this to anyone? Am I strong enough not to explain this to anyone? Am I swimming upstream, fighting the inevitable, or have I done this? Where's the fault? Is there a fault? Do I have to live with the search still active in my body every day, knowing that it's actually over? Can I deal with the relentless pain of separation? Or could I cope knowing that there isn't? Not really. Mitsu, how you laugh at me with every cell. Your cell's my cell. Because it won't be your cell. And no matter how many stands you take for me, you can't win this. You can't win this unless you change the whole world. Why did I have to be the one? And yet, for all my protests, I fear I'll be taken regardless eventually if that's the plan. For why else would your frequency be the only thing I need to be made sound, made whole? That when I'm not in penetrating distance, I feel like I'm switched off, like the batteries have been taken out, like I'm ineffective, of no use, faulty, like I might as well be boxed up until I'm with you because there's no purpose for me otherwise. Box me up and pull me out only when you arrive, but let's arrive together next time. You are everything. You are trust. You are honour. You are the warmth and the cold I need in equal measure. You are me in a different dimension. We're together also in others. We are eternally entangled, but what needs to happen here, in this now? Why does the responsibility of care have to lie with me? I have been given the control, but I don't think I've ever been in control. Not really. But I want to be. But of me, not in control of you. I only dream of being able to protect you, like you've protected me. I have no ill intent. I have no ill intent. Okay, slowly, but this has to be done slowly. Do you believe you're my twin flame?
Each of us comes with our own programming, subconscious rules that we live by, stories that we have told ourselves since childhood based on what we have absorbed. When you're a child, you absorb societal rules given by parents, teachers, government, etc., and you take them for truths. You don't know any better. And even when you're humanly older and you question some of them, and you think that they could be wrong, if you go against those rules, that social patterning, it still gives you that horrible feeling in your stomach. You judge yourself for breaking the rules, and you're no longer a good boy or a good girl, and even if part of yourself, your innate inner knowing, gives you the loving response in your mind first, you don't listen to it. You listen to the judge, the egoic mind that appears next, the voice that stems from your social conditioning and your societal domestication. It could even literally appear as the voice of your mother, the one that was there to keep you safe, and you repress all the intuition and lean towards restriction because it's what you have always done and it feels safe and you feel in control and you want to keep control. But please listen to your intuition. Listen to that first voice. That's all I want for you. What is it saying? Is it wrong? Even if you push me away, if you want to run, is it coming from you? Really coming from you? The real you? Or if it is, then keep your boundaries up. Carry on running. I accept that. All I want you to do is what you feel is the right thing to do. I crave that you wake and are able to see above the maya, remove your blockages, the obscured agreements that at some point you have unknowingly made with yourself, and see things from a higher perspective. But until you can, I pray that you are happy in your convictions, and that they are truly coming from a place that you feel is right. And I forgive you, and I don't blame you, and I don't doubt the feelings you have for me, because I am able to see above. And the last thing that I would want is for you to be in communication with me, in union with me, half-heartedly, the place of allowing tinier than the pace of fear, as I know that you would be in turmoil, you would feel uneasy, and you would resent me. And that would taint our connection far more than us not being together, as when we are not together, we can keep each other in our minds, the pure. So come to me, communicate with me only when you are truly ready, when you are doing it from your own true convictions, your own real sense of what is right, your full agreement, trusting your own judgment. Only then can this be right. It is mental right, but it's got to be right. It's got to align. And when it does, you will see everything that you expected from this reality and more delicious than the chocolate that will never make you fat, and wine that doesn't give you a hangover. Life, true existence, without perceived consequence. Only good. That's what we'll be. And that's what we are.